And welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of Monday, November 14th, 2022. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, the meeting will be conducted in person and remote, maybe. The in-person meeting is at the Gala Meeting Room, Town Hall. And is anyone going to Zoom in that you know of, Jane?
Jeff is.
Jeff, okay. So, and remotely via Zoom. The meeting is also being broadcast on Foxborough Cable. Being 7 o'clock, I'll open the meeting. Do we have any public comments? Mr. Buckley, can you be fast?
Very fast.
Okay. We got before 7:05.
See for Lawson.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicant, Lawson Farm LLC. And what we've presented to the commission is a request for an extension of the order of conditions granted for the project. And I think everybody has it in front of them. I can put up the drawings if needed. I can talk to it. So this project was originally permitted by the commission in 2016, and then the order of conditions was extended until August 2021, and then it was tolled because of the pandemic until November 28, 2022. So we're still under the last extension of the order. Right now, we've got, so there are 3 phases to the project, if you can picture it. So you come in off of Main Street, there's the main road there, and then there's the road off to the right. So that's Conway. That's pretty much the first phase. Coming in, Goodwin, it's about 1,000 feet, and then Conway off to the right. So when you drive by, you see all those houses that are in, that's the first phase. And that's complete. Actually, we just finished the roadways, or actually the roadways are done to base, the sidewalks are in, the curbing is in, the landscaping is in. As far as the commission goes, the work that the commission regulates is all the plantings, the restoration area has been done for a while because we couldn't proceed without that. And in your report, we have in your filing, there's a report from, I forget the name of the company, let's see.
Goddard.
Yeah, Goddard, who did the original design and who just did an inspection for you. Take a look at that. And the commission has walked it. I've walked it several times with members. It's coming in nicely. One of the things we haven't done yet is, in those areas, is we have to put a split rail fence along the 25-foot no-touch zone. That has not been done yet. The intent to do that is to start that this month, or certainly by the end of the year, and to finish it in the spring. And the reason we haven't, or one of the reasons, not all, the only reason, is we've just been focusing on the other work that we had to do because the planning board was very insistent that we get that work done quickly. So that's what the focus has been on. But I know he's going to start the split rail fence on lot 30, which is the first one on the left as you come in. He promised that homeowner that he'd have it done by the end of the year, and then he intends to finish it by the end of, by the springtime. As far as the second phase, really the only portion of it that might impact or falls within the buffer zone is the end of the cul-de-sac. So you come up that road, and then you take that big road down to the bottom, and right at the end of that cul-de-sac, at the back end of that, it's just on the edge of the 100, and there is erosion or sediment control fencing down in that area there that's in. It was actually refreshed this year. I walked it today. So the fence is in. It's an orange construction fence, and then the silt sock is in. And they're in good shape. There's like one place there that I saw where a tree had fallen on it. Behind the stormwater basin, so you get to the bottom of the hill of the cul-de-sac, you take a left, and you're kind of heading back out. And we're building another 400 feet or so there. And that stormwater basin 4 is on the right. So you go to the bottom of the hill in that cul-de-sac, go left on Goodwin, and to the right is stormwater basin 4. That basin is roughed in. All of the catch basins and manholes are in. I was up there today On the phase two, all the silt socks, all the silt sacks are in the catch basins. They're raising them all now to finished grade in preparation for the winter. Again, the erosion control fencing along the back end of that is all in. There are a couple of sedimentation basins on the sides of the road, again, that I looked at today, that they're used when the water runs off, and they're both in good shape. They're dry. I mean, we had a lot of rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so everything seems to be operating well. So what we're asking the commission for is an extension of this order of conditions. You know, ideally 3 years, but I think the reality should be what they're hoping, and of course, it's all about the economy. They finished phase two, it's all paved. They want to jump right into phase three. Don't know if that's going to happen, but their plan is to get that phase three up and running and under construction, completely paved in the spring, and then houses being built, and then hopefully finishing up the roadway in 2024, because, you know, we have to wait until 80% of the houses are built before you can put the top coat down. That's a planning board reg. So I'm just spitballing that we're probably looking at 2024 for the roadway to be finished. And then it can't be accepted for a year, because that's, again, a planning board reg. They put the top coat down, accepted for a year. So now we're at 2025. So I think 3 years will be it. And then we have to be coming in on a lot of the lots in even this phase and the third phase, they back up to that land that's being conveyed to the commission at the end of the project where the wetlands are. So we'll be coming in on those individual lots as well. None right now that I have any on my board. So that's it.
Thank you. Jane, any problems with it? I know
No.
you mentioned the split rail fence. That
Yeah, the
was
split
gonna
rail
be-
fence I knew was an issue, and
Yeah.
Bill ran out there today, and he took some videos, and it looked pretty good. I still want to go out there, of course, but I didn't really feel so hot this morning, so he went out there for me. Thank you, Bill.
Welcome.
And you started to say, Bill, extension for 3 years would be good, but you sounded like you were going to give him only a shorter one first.
Well, whatever the commission wants, of course, but I think the reality is, as I laid out, it's going to take us until 2025 to get the road accepted. So if I'm right, and you say only 2 for now, I'll be back in 2 years, probably, to do
So this
that.
is a weird one, too, because it was one of those things that was around during COVID, so you're supposed to extend it and make it last for the same kind of date as it was first issued, 8/21 or something like that. But because, and Bill figured this out for me, because it was told for 400 and some odd days, it brought it to November of 2022. So I extended it to that date instead of the original order's date, which I don't know is something that we should or shouldn't do, but seemed logical to me. Any thoughts on that one there? I can smell wood burning. Jim was looking.
No, it's fine.
So, Diana drafted it, and I added the date, and 3 years,
Thank you.
yeah.
Can I say
Questions
something?
from the board?
Yeah, I have something. I have something.
Yeah.
I took a walk down there, Bill, today.
I got a report.
So he's the one.
And it's Goodwin Drive. There's a problem past Conway Lane on the left-hand side. They've put down large trap rock, bigger than normal
Sediment
there,
basin.
trying to
Yep.
control it. But it's blown out in another place. They put a control, small rock overflow, but it's torn through the silt sock. So we're getting erosion in that particular area, in these
Okay.
rings. And if it isn't fixed, it's gonna freeze and you can't move any of that dirt.
We can fix that. I'll look at that tomorrow. I didn't see that. I took a movie of that area, too.
Yeah,
Okay.
where was that?
Right at the
That's
beginning,
right at the beginning of Goodwin Drive. You
On the
can't,
left.
can't miss it.
On the
It's
left or
very
the right?
Left.
left. It's a sediment basin off to the side of the road where we
Right.
put all trap rock down there. Okay.
So up at the top of the hill, right?
No, at the,
No, it's
no, at the
bottom.
bottom, you come in, and instead of taking a right, you go to the dirt road there, and then down on the left. Can't miss it. It was the first video I sent you.
Okay, okay. I did notice in one of the videos, it looked like there had been some kind of erosion, but you had said that it hadn't gone beyond the silt fence, so I'm mostly concerned about the bottom of the hill, of course, which is close to the pond.
Yeah, I didn't see anything there.
Good.
Did you see anything at the bottom of the hill?
I didn't get back there. It was late in the afternoon. But I was also looking, and the report mentioned it, that they still need to remove the fencing inside the restoration areas on both sides and the silt socks. I don't know if that silt sock with the blue material around it degrades as fast as the other ones that have more of the brown strawy type, because it's still out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, normally what they supposedly will degrade, or you just slice it down the center and spread it out and pull out the fabric if it's
right.
not degradable.
It's getting overgrown, but you can still see that bluish netting. It can rip apart when you pull it, but
I can add that when we do the fencing in the spring or this winter, I'll make sure that they remove that fence and cut the
Yeah,
silt
on both
sock and-
sides.
and pull them out,
the
right,
the fencing's on both sides.
right,
And
yes.
the wooden, portion of the wooden fencing, he promised to remove that. That's gonna be on the parcel of land that eventually goes to the town. When you're leaving, the subdivision, it's on your right-hand side. It's still up.
Okay, so on the right end, I don't remember that
At the
part.
at the entrance, when you're first
Yeah, at
coming
the
in?
entrance, yeah.
It's
on the left?
on our property, or is it along Main Street?
No, it's gonna be on our property when you guys convey it,
Is it along Main Street?
No.
Or along the road?
along the road. It's probably part of the, keeping the horses out of the, wet area that's just on the other side of it, with all the cat and nine tails,
Yep, okay.
I only bring it up because when we had that meeting that spring.
Yep.
That they got it, had promised that, and the owner had promised that they would work on that, that summer.
Yep. They didn't, okay.
No, they didn't.
Good catch.
I don't remember it, but okay, I'll make sure it happens. Remove silt sock and fence, and then we'll move that fence along the east side of Goodwood.
And there's some on the other side. too.
Yeah, and the sediment basin.
Is there supposed to be split rail fence on the house?
Yeah, that's what he
That's what he
mentioned
spoke
is-
about
Oh,
a
that's
minute ago.
that's the first house. How about the second one?
So there's anywhere, in the three areas where we did restoration, which is the first house. So you go past the first house and there's the intermittent
Right.
stream. And along the intermittent stream on both sides, that's where the restoration was. So there's
Right.
split rail fence on both sides of that. And then
Okay.
over on the left side, as you're coming in, that's 30, and there's some restoration area behind that, and that's gonna
Okay.
be a split rail fence too.
Okay.
And then there were a couple of others that were listed on the plans at some point, I noticed, but I don't think they've been, I think they're more towards the end of the second or third phase.
There was one 6-foot-high fence that we have to put up near the detention basin. I don't remember exactly where, though. It's basin 3.
Okay.
It's outside the commission. It was a planning board thing they wanted.
Okay, I thought there was something on the Conservation Commission's information, but I don't have it off the top
Well,
of my
we can
head.
talk about that before they put those fencing up next year and make sure we get it all at once instead of doing it again.
Any other comments from the board? Motion to issue an extension for 157-554.
I'll make that motion to extend for 3 years, 157-154, 554, sorry.
Do I hear a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Being 7:05 PM, we have a continuation for 20 Ridge Road enforcement order. Is Mr. Nichols in the audience? If not, Jim, would you do some reading for me, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention that the enforcement and restoration order had specific requirements and deadlines. And I'll read those into the record. Property owner was required to immediately cover all materials that were dredged from the Neponset Reservoir and dumped into the adjacent wetland to prevent silt and other and/or heavy metals from washing into the reservoir. He was supposed to schedule a site visit with the agent, discuss how to immediately stabilize the 100-foot buffer so it's unvegetated slope. On or before October 24th of this year, he was required to nominate a landscape restoration specialist to the commission for the approval during the 10/24/22 meeting. On October 24, 2022, he was to come to the Conservation Commission's meeting and to afford an opportunity to offer statements relative to the unauthorized activity at the site. On or before the November 14, 22 meeting, he was to have a draft RARP prepared and submitted to the commission, approved LRS. And before November 14, 2022, owner Mr. Nichols was to have his hired licensed site professional sample soil in the dump pile from the dredging activities to determine the magnitude, extent of the contamination. Soil sampling results were to be used to determine appropriateness and feasibility of the contaminated soil removal disposal. And if appropriate and feasible, contaminated soils were to be disposed of off-site in accordance with the MCP 310 CMR 40 on a timetable agreed to by the commission. And all restoration activities were to be completed by May 1st of next year. I don't think any of these have been met. Some of them are obviously in the future, but those that have come and passed have not been met.
Okay, thank you, Jim. For the record, the commission has been very flexible. We have given Mr. Nichols every opportunity to work with us to comply with the ERO, but we have not received any response from him. Therefore, Mr. Nichols has failed to meet any of the deadlines that were just read into the record, so we have no recourse but turn this matter over to the town's legal counsel. Do we have any discussion on the matter?
Nope.
Jeff, any?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion for that then?
What's the motion? To refer to a town's attorney?
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None? All right. Okay. Being 7:10 PM, we have 72 Prospect. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act and Foxborough's Wetland Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, November 14th, 2022 at 7:10 PM in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, and via Zoom on a request for determination of applicability filed by Ronald Pike for the repair of an existing residential septic system at 72 Prospect Street, Assessors Map 132, Parcel 31, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. The application available for public inspection, the Conservation Office. Mr. Pike.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Ron Pike. I'm here with my mom, Mary Lou Pike, owners of the 72 Prospect Street. I just working with Michael Trowbridge, Hutchins Trowbridge Associates out of Mansfield. Just prepared a quick little statement here. We're repairing the septic system, as Bob mentioned, and it has been reviewed by the Board of Health, and I believe it's been approved there, and now come before you. We have a situation control in place, and the new design exceeds Title V requirements. It's basically a quick statement that I wanted to put out there. Anybody has any questions or anything? I have a copy as well. I believe you all have
Yeah,
a
we have,
copy.
yeah, I think, does everybody have a copy or just I?
Nope.
Okay.
I can give you another copy or two, if you'd like.
I passed them out the last meeting. I have one left over, so whoever wasn't here at the last meeting.
I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I've got the master copy, so I'm good. Driveway command. Let's replace that.
I have a copy of this
Repair.
already, right? When you submitted it? Yeah, so I don't need one.
That holds a lot, huh?
I don't ever forget it. I found mine.
Okay, he's using call tax, okay. Okay. Where was the old leaching field? Is it same area?
Yeah, actually, my father, back in 1970, he was the one that built the house,
Oh.
designed the system.
Oh, okay,
He worked with Buckley also.
okay.
And I'm just trying to be proactive.
Mm,
The system's currently still working,
okay.
and my dad did a very good job. It was put under the driveway,
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm looking to do is, I know the life of the system is potentially gone beyond, and it's still working, but I don't want it to fail. I want to move forward and get a new updated system, you know, that's going to be better for everybody.
Yep. No complaints here. Any questions, comments from the board?
I want to point out that this house has no lawn in the front yard. It's all trees.
My dad was a
They
big
get
fan
an
of
A
Frank Lloyd
plus.
Wright. Build the house to suit the lot. And I was thankful for that because I grew up in the house and I didn't have to mow the lawn. I mowed Bethany Church when I was a kid, so, yeah.
That's fun.
So he's one of our poster children, I think, for sure. Or they are.
All right. Any other comments? Somebody want to make a motion for negative determination?
Number 3, 6, and 6A.
3, 6, and 6A.
I'll make a motion for negative determination on for 3, 6, and 6A.
I second that.
Negative is good.
Okay.
It's just confusing.
Mary Lou, you were worried there for a minute.
This is my partner in crime.
Okay.
Just looking out for her, you know? Dad's not
She's
around.
worth looking over.
Yeah, she's a hot ticket.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
You can have this plan back.
Okay.
This next one is not here. He couldn't make this meeting, so I told him I would do the
Be the
dog and pony
advocate.
show.
Okay.
Yeah. For 132-134 North Street. And so Bob Fay, who's Norfolk Engineering, the
You want
the
the
representative from
original
Norfolk Engineering, couldn't attend. But basically, what I did is
Well,
I,
let me read the notice first.
oh, I'm sorry, I got ahead of it.
Yeah,
So excited.
don't want to get illegal here.
Sorry.
Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetland Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, November 14th, 2022, at 7:15 PM in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, and via Zoom on a request for determination of applicability filed by Sudhir. Yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce the last
Laguna.
name. For septic system repairs at 132, 134 North Street. Assessors map 17, parcel 5, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. The application is available for public inspection at the Conservation Office. All right, now, Jane.
Sorry about that. So the applicant's representative couldn't be here tonight, so I said it's a pretty simple filing, and I would just review it quickly. And the house is basically across the street from Camp Road, and it's next to a pretty large parcel of land, and that has some wetlands according to the DEP data layer. But it's, the septic system is quite far away from it, and also I always say, septic repair is better than a failed septic system. So if the Board of Health approves it, and I don't know honestly if they have, but if they have, then I say negative. I would recommend a negative determination again.
All right, so the motion will be negative as long as the Board of Health has said. Okay.
Right, and I didn't include that on the form, but it's probably something good to include if the Board of Health has not approved it yet.
All right. Any discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion for a negative determination on 132 through 134 North Street, subject to the Board of Health approving the septic system.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have a request for continuation of 2 Washington Street, 157617, until January 23rd, 2023. Somebody want to make that motion, please?
I'll make a motion to extend DEP 157-617 to January 23rd, 2023's meeting.
Okay, second.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Not opposed. Or,
All right. Do we have anyone here from the Cocasset Lake Association? All right, come on up. Before we get started, I'd like to make a little statement. A while back, you were in for a request for a fence within the 25-foot no disturb zone. That was denied. We talked to you, we discussed what we could do there, what could be done there with some native plantings, but evidently you didn't like that. As an outsider looking in, I'm going to say that you probably had a brainstorming session. You tried to figure out what was going on, how to keep the fishermen out. Good way to keep the fishermen out. Drain the pond, take the fish out. No fishing. Definite violation, and I'll let Jane read all the regulations. The drawdown was illegal. It was early. There was no permit for that. And while the water level was down, you put some cement signs in, new signs for no fishing. You put rocks were put in the 25-foot no disturb area. Rocks are native, but they're not plantings. The complete violation of our 25-foot no disturb. A while back, a new house was being built, and representatives from the association were very critical of the new building. They wanted to make sure that every T was crossed, every I dotted for that project. But yet, you just ignore all of the rules and regulations. What's going on?
So, yeah, so we absolutely made a
Can
mistake
you
drawing down.
Identify yourselves, please.
Sure. Jim Lowry, 20 Woodland Road, with the CLA.
Brandon Stacy, Granite Street with the CLA.
Brad Pond, 15 Water Street, the CLA.
So we're all volunteers of the CLA, which is a 35-member homeowners association, essentially. And Jane rightfully advised us 5 years ago that we failed to apply for a permit to draw down. And unfortunately, that didn't, so we only draw down every 5 years. We used to draw down every year for weed control and whatnot, but we don't do that any longer. We now draw down only every 5 years. And we do have an annual meeting where we all get together third Wednesday of October every year. And unfortunately, the message wasn't carried forward, so we absolutely made a mistake there. We should have filed with the state the form that Jane gave us, and we didn't do that last year, but we now have the form, and we did file it this year where we
When did you file
after
it?
Jane told us to. It was too late. But we did file after she advised us that we should have done that. But we had never seen the form. Shame on us. Again, we had drawn down the lake 30 times in the past and not used that form, so that's wrong. But now that we know the form exists, we absolutely will file, and we actually will make sure we speak to you guys, you folks as well. So we're going to add that into our annual meeting every October to make sure that follows forward. And then in 5 years, we'll make sure that we advise you before we do that again. We also didn't know it was supposed to be done starting November. We did it starting on October 1st. It did take 21 days like you're supposed to, but we didn't know that either. But we now know that. We shouldn't start until November 1st, and that's what we'll do 5 years from now. And we only draw down so that the state of Massachusetts can take an inspection, which we have to pay for, $7,000, of the dam every 5 years. And then they give us their report and tell us what needs to be done, and then we move forward. So Part B of that form would be if we were to do any repairs or to do anything, removal of trees, what have you. So that's the situation we're in. So we know we made a mistake, and again, all we can promise you, or hope to promise you, is that we as a volunteer group communicate better, and we will each October, and then in 5 years make sure, actually in 4 years, file the permit so that you folks can see it and hopefully approve it.
I guess my biggest question is, since we denied the fence within the 25-foot no disturb, what made you think that you could pile rocks in there instead?
Yeah, so that, I'll take responsibility for that. As you said, we wish that we didn't have to put these signs up. We've been putting them up for the past several years. They keep getting stolen, ripped down, torn down. We are working with the Foxborough Police, the Chief of Police, who's given us great direction and guidance as to what we should be doing as a liable entity, so that we're not liable if something were to happen. And they advise us that we haven't been doing enough, and we understand that, so we're trying to do more. Like that, the request for that fence was attempting to do more. Certainly the signs that we put up over the years are attempting the same thing. People unfortunately tear them down, and the cemetery put up signs, they damage the signs, and Jane, I know you walk the cemetery, they tear them down, they bend them. It's unfortunate. The stones were my idea because Jane, our understanding was that you want us to plant native vegetation. And the only way that native vegetation would stay is if we had put either soil or something there, and those rocks were there. I mean, if you were to walk the lake, you can see the rock walls that used to be there, and and I've watched the kids over the year. Every year, kids go down, they take the rocks, they throw them into the lake. We watch that every year, aside from picking up the beer cans and the trash and what have you. So that was my idea. It was a bad idea, it sounds like. But we needed something to put soil on so that we can put the blueberry bushes in place, or whatever type of native vegetation you guys allow.
During that hearing, though, you were supposed to come before us with a plan,
And this is why. And this is why.
Yeah.
We can't just give carte blanche, you can do this, that, or the other thing, because I've learned the hard way. People just don't understand how, the native plants and such. I wish they did, but it comes easy to me, it doesn't come easy to most.
Right.
So let me ask a question. You have a consultant working with the association?
Like an environmental consultant?
GZA was what? you
GZA was
referred to.
hired, yeah.
Okay. And did you speak to GCA before even attempting a drawdown? Because I think they would have advised you about the different rules and regulations that you would have to comply with first?
We showed them that form, and we do pay them $7,000 every time we do this, and they've been excellent. They've been doing it for us for 30 years, so 5 times past, 25 years. And we're still waiting for them to help us fill the form out. So we filled out Section A. Section B, you basically need to be an environmental engineer, so we're gonna have to pay them to do that. None of us would know how to do that.
I
but
think
they've-
section, isn't it, excuse me for interrupting, but from my understanding is you fill out section A, and then if the
Only if you
department
need
gives you a determination that you have to fill out section B, part B, then you do it.
Oh, only if you need it, right, okay, that's a good point. I guess we
Okay.
looked at it and knew that we couldn't fill it out. So we reached out to GCA. They're very busy this time of year because they're inspecting 1 million dams. Hasn't gotten back to us yet, and we haven't gotten our report back yet, which we will. Again, they've been excellent, we have no complaints at all. And we have asked them we presented the form to them, emailed the form to them, asked them for their help. They just haven't gotten back to us.
Well, see, one of the reasons you should have told us, not only because it was in your order of conditions, which I recommend people read if they have trouble sleeping at night, but you should be aware of everything that's in there, because it's not just put in there for fun. It's not fun to put all those things in.
Right.
You know, we got a series of things going on here. You have let the water down in your lake, which basically is now keeping the river from being at the height it should be, so the rare species down the way are maybe left high and dry. And then West Street Dam is being rebuilt, and so the water is down there as well. So you've got this, you know, multi-level problem, and not only are you killing all of the creatures that live in your pond, there's also a lot of green things that are growing in there that I think is going to pollute your water when it comes back up. And studies show that when you do lower the water for a long time, what can happen is the invasive plants that don't die from lack of water are going to proliferate. And I think, seems to be milfoil is one of them.
Yeah, we don't want to, we never want to drain the lake. Again, it costs us $7,000 to do so. We'd rather not.
Well, it's a little frustrating to me because I talked to Mark Jaworski about this last time, and I sent him soup to nuts. We didn't go into as much detail about the lake drawdown in the order of conditions this year because I figured it's a law that you have to comply with. And we just said, notify us. Now, if you'd notified us, I could have said, well, wait a minute, it's too early, and you have to drop it down by X amount. Also, if you drop it down more than 3 feet, you're supposed to tell the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife about it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if these are new laws. They're on the
No, they've been
mass.
around.
Well, no, I think that there are some recent changes. I'm not positive. For example, there's something about recording something against the deed for this, the dam. You have to record it against the deed or something. That is not my bailiwick. But basically, you know, all the things that I've sent to you, I'm a little horrified that the water's down so far, 6 or 7 feet.
But it has to go down, so, again, we don't want to draw it down.
No, I understand that, but it sounds like poor timing on many parts.
Right, we should have, first of all, we should have notified you like you had told us 5 years ago, so that was a big mistake. And then second of all, we shouldn't have started until November 1st. And we will, so we're going to talk to GZA for the future, because we're waiting for them to
Yeah,
get...
they should be telling you. If you're employing them to do something, they should be telling you that you need to do certain things. You're saying no?
No, yeah, they should definitely have been involved
Yeah.
this summer, because you have a 5-year drawdown.
They should be advising you.
Secondly, the Fish and Game has to be part of this. Any drawdowns, especially if it goes beyond 3 feet, they're involved, not only with DCR, but DEP. Now, all these agencies do get together, even though, you know, you had COVID and other things, but There's no excuse with your consultant, except you didn't notify them that you're gonna have to do this maybe last spring, to let them know, we want advice. And then who do we notify formally besides the local commission? Because if Fish and Game gets involved and they see you've got species in there, we don't know what's there, but if they know and that what you've done has affected their living, their ecosystem, and also what's affected downstream, like Jane mentioned, of other species, they're not gonna be very happy. Because you have a certain cubic foot allowance when you draw it down, and then when you fill it back up. It's in the rules.
Yeah.
And it has to be monitored. And you got a consultant that needs to be more involved, no excuses.
Okay.
You're paying them, there's no excuses. But I'm not gonna blame consultants, because if you didn't notify them,
Yeah, we didn't, it's not their fault. But we are going to ask them
They're
to,
familiar with this GEIR, General Environmental Impact Report. Every wetland scientist worth their weight, especially if it has to do with water, ponds and such, they have to know about this. And I've referenced it before, it's old, but it still applies.
I know that we were in contact with the GZA prior to the drawdown, and it's interesting that they did not inform us of that, because I was unaware of the timing. I didn't know that that was part of it. I just didn't.
I know, and it's, I got the mea culpa, I'm so sorry, but that doesn't help your lake. I mean, you're doing a number on your lake by drawing it down and leaving it for so long, and drawing it down as much as you did and leaving it for so long, and if GZA's been out there to, who has to look at the dam? Is it the state or the
State.
GZA?
this is state.
state
Doesn't
does it.
GZA write a report?
They do.
They do.
We're waiting,
The
we're
state
waiting
has
for
to
that.
come too?
What's that?
The state needs to come out too?
No, they do
No,
the
they're
advice of the GZA.
They're the state. We hire them, the state, they are apparently the interface between us and the state.
Okay.
Only if the dam were going to fail would there be significant action taken.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen a lot of those reports. I mean, I'm no expert on dams because we don't have, I'm not the dam person in town. That's our town engineer. He's the
We
one
are
that
the
does
dam
this.
committee here at Foxborough.
Yes, the damn dam.
The volunteer dam committee. But no, we
Yeah,
know.
but knowledge is power. You gotta stay on top of this stuff because it's for your own good. I mean, the laws were made not to aggravate us, well, maybe a little, but to protect the environment. And the environment is changing so rapidly right now. You don't want to shake it up any more than you have to.
So the one thing that may help us moving forward is now we hear that they're allowing drones to be used. We don't want to drain the lake. It's a negative to us to drain the lake. As you state, it can affect our weeds negatively, what have you.
But if you have to look at the infrastructure, couldn't you just draw it down, make a plan for when they're going to come out and look at it, date, draw it down
Takes
X amount to get
21
to that
Oh, yeah,
point, and then
yeah.
start filling it right back up again?
Right, so it takes 21 days to draw it down so they can look at the infrastructure top to bottom. But now they allow, we believe that this year they're allowing drones, water drones, so we may not have to drain it next year.
You mean in 5 years?
And I beg your pardon.
But yeah,
5 years,
they were talking about using drones.
That's cool.
it's provided the clarity is good enough that
Exactly,
that can
yeah,
work.
exactly.
Because sometimes that doesn't work in fresh water.
Right now, it doesn't work perfectly, but we're hoping the drone technology gets better. Because again, drawing it down is a pain in the neck, we don't want to do that. But anyway,
I think you should, you or GZA, I think you should, as an association, contact Mass Fish and Game.
Absolutely.
You don't want them on the wrong side, because they also work with EPA, and a lot of these drawdowns, removal of dams, they're experts on it. They have people that work and do the studies and advise how to do it. And they have experts.
right.
GZA, there's no excuse. But then again, if people aren't notified way ahead of time, besides us, now you could get a problem trying to fill that up, and it could be fines relative to what you might be doing downstream.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, it says the Mass Department of Fishery and Game, which I've probably sent you this information, says limit drawdown to 3 feet. Their policy is to review drawdowns in excess of 3 feet. Commence drawdown after the beginning of November, achieve the target drawdown depth by the beginning of December, achieve full lake level by the beginning of April, and keep outflow during drawdown below a discharge equivalent of blah, 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 Greek to me. And then when you're refilling it, you have to allow a certain amount of the lake, the discharge to go too, because you've got a whole river system that's below you that is dependent upon the water flowing through there, as it always has. I mean, it wasn't always dammed up there. I mean, it has been for a long time, but,
And you need an expert, someone that can be there relative to when it's refilling, how much water is being discharged. Can't expect, us lay people to be able to know, oh, how about, what's 5 cubic feet per second? Flowing through there to maintain the river down below. I mean, this is advice that, Fish and Game would give directly or through GZA. There's no excuse there.
Right. Yeah, we're going to have a meeting with GZA face-to-face. Normally, we end up meeting them at the dam. We realize we need a face-to-face meeting with them and need to address these issues.
yeah, that's one problem that I have with some companies that are hired by residents, assuming that they're going to follow the rules, and not knowing the rules because they're hiring experts to help them with the rules. And this sort of thing frustrates me. Well, what you've done has frustrated me, but what GZA has done frustrates me as well.
Do you
I'm
always
not letting you
draw
off the hook.
it, do you always draw it down that much?
It's always been drawn down that level, yeah. There's only, what's it, about 6 feet. It's a number of boards. We take out one board every 2 days. Takes like 21 days or 22 days to draw down.
And the
It used to-
fishermen, are they being, the fishermen that you're trying to stop from fishing, are they being destructive, or?
We did have a trespasser that was,
It's amazing. You guys, it's impossible to believe.
I'll tell you,
what
I've been
actually-
wanting to go out and look at the tracks out there. It's been really hard for me not to because I'm a tracker, and you can see everything that's been there, every wildlife critter, and
yeah, coyotes, fox.
We had-
absolutely, otters, you must have everything, I'm
We
sure.
had 3 cruisers. We had a kid come in from Stoughton to fish, 6 fishing rods, walked over, stood next to one of our docks. We told him to move. The police had been called. The cruisers came down to the cemetery. He had already left. He came over to one of our roads and knocked on 4 doors, asking if he can fish. Everyone said, no, it's private, no, it's private. 2 more cruisers had to come down. They must have had to arrest the kid. People are just, and it doesn't live in our town. We get people from New Hampshire, people from Rhode Island. It's insane. And they leave their nonsense, and who knows what they're bringing in their boats. And plus, it's private. We're liable. We know that.
Do they put boats in?
Oh, yes.
They put
Where
boats
do
in?
they
no?
put boats in?
Every summer.
By the cemetery.
The cemetery.
Really? Wow.
That cemetery is an absentee landlord. They're doing the best they can. That is a boat launch. You've been down there, Jane, every day, right? That's literally,
When I can, yeah.
that's literally a boat launch.
It's easy for them to drive down there and launch a boat, and they do it all the
Well,
time.
that's why we were
That's-
suggesting, wouldn't it be nice if you could get the cemetery to block off that outer road?
That's what we're asking.
refuse to
So
do
then,
that.
we've asked that. We've asked
I mean,
that.
that's logical, and then open it up if you're having some sort of a ceremony down there.
Yeah, we've asked that.
They-
Again, we're not, they're volunteers too, but there are people, they do have income, they're a private entity, but considered semi-private because it's a cemetery. We've been doing this for 30 years, in our situation, we have a private entity and we have a neighbor that isn't helping us police, and it all comes through there. So boats, sometimes skidoos, you wouldn't believe it. In the summer, in April and May, it looks like a party. There's people down there that, so we have to call the police. We look like the bad people, and I know we are the bad people. Cocasset Lake is the.
Well, you'll have to
bad
be diligent about keeping every opening in the lake closed.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That's why we
everything,
tried to defense, to keep them out of that area. That's where they're entering in.
Well, that's why we suggested put a temporary fence there. I know that the police
The
chief
cemetery-
would like to see a permanent fence.
yes, yeah.
But, that would need a notice of intent. It's not the chief came in and spoke to me about this. And he said, well, they're saying the commission's not letting them. I said, no, that's not the case. The commission said, you have to do this, 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 and this to do this. You have to jump through the same hoops everyone else does. And lakes are tough. They're really tough. People love their lakes, and they want to develop right up to them, and they don't understand you can't. But,
This is to keep people off, they'll keep people away.
no, I understand, because I have property on a lake, and
Right.
I can't control it, but, and the weeds are a problem and things like that, but there's got to be a better way to do it, and you got to follow the rules.
But as I said, when you came in for that fence, if we give 1 inch on that 25-foot no disturb, we're done.
Understood.
But this is I agree, but this is a situation, we have an absentee landlord, it's a semi-private entity. There is constant criminal activity down there at all times. And you guys, it used to be much, much worse. Luckily, it's getting better. But we have cost, not we, it has cost the town enormous dollars to police that boat launch. That is a boat launch. If any of you guys go down there, you look at it, this is where they launch their boats. It looks like a public, it's an attractive nuisance, right? We've been advised we need to get an attorney, cost us more money. We're, again, volunteer homeowner association, and we have to raise more money to get an attorney. It's terrible. But the bottom line is that we were hoping, and we need to do more to work with you guys, because we'd like to put that fence up. because-
Communication.
Yeah,
Just communicate.
communication.
You got to
right.
tell us stuff, and you got to say, can we do this? And I'm a mother. I believe in rewarding good behavior, not,
Right.
but bad behavior. No. But if you come and you say, I'd like to do this, we'll find a way for people to do what they need to do.
Yeah, the cemetery needs to be involved as well. It's their property that the fence will be
Yes,
on.
absolutely.
But
Yep.
But
as
you
far as
might
the
give a
precedent,
gift of all
this
of
is
these
not-
plants and
This
such.
is a really, really weird special case. There's probably nowhere in this state where there's a cemetery abutting a private lake like this, So this is a very weird situation. I know you would have to bend the laws to give in, to allow us, because we were asking for like 14 feet away, but still, we would have properly put the fence up.
No, it's a give and take. It's a give and take. For example, people with lakefront lots, they'll say, gee, I'd like to add this to my house. And they've got the lawn all the way down to the water, and it's been grandfathered forever, and we can't keep them from having it. So we'll say, well, we would like as much of that 25-foot no disturb restored as possible.
Right.
So it's a give and take thing. It's a net environmental benefit. It's not a you can't, it's a how are we going to come to this end, which is why you need to file a notice of intent with a real plan. And I could help you with a plan. It's not.
We'll do that. We'll do
It's
that.
not, rocket science.
Right, right. So we'll do that.
But you can't just say, I can't just say to you, do this, because it doesn't work.
Right.
People don't understand it, unfortunately.
So we have two issues here, Bob. We need to separate them. There has to be a meeting immediately with your association, DCA. I don't know if one or two of us should be part of it to listen in about the dam, about the water, about restoring it. What is going to be done? Who is going to do it? And do you have to file, besides whatever form you file, do you have to file anything else and immediately call and talk with someone from Mass Fish and Game? Then we got the other issue, which is also part of your order of conditions. Hopefully you might go back and read it relative to this access thing, that you wanted to do something, or, you.
But that was a
instead of the native-
determination. That
Right.
was a request for determination.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to separate that. And then
GZA,
try to-
we can handle without, we will, and if you guys want to be engaged, they're probably going to charge us for this extra time, so we have to be careful of that, or, aware of that, but we will set that up immediately. We'll call him and set that up immediately. We have a call into them, and again, they're excellent. They have been good to us, I should say. But
They haven't advised you properly
I would
how
agree
to
with
do
that.
this.
Okay. So we'll talk.
And if they don't think that it's necessary for you to fill that form out, then they should tell you. I'm not necessarily totally right. I'm just reading what I'm reading that says you must do this, this, and this before you do this, this, and this.
Right.
It's not something I deal with every day.
So we'll ask them that too, but it's a good point.
Yeah.
We will invite you guys. I'll let you know when the meeting is.
It
And then
should be as soon as possible.
Yeah.
November's dry.
We can put the boards in starting tomorrow. We were waiting for the GZA report, but we're happy to start we're going to put the boards in over 21 days, But of course, it's going to have to fill, but we can start putting the boards in literally tomorrow.
You should only do it under the advice of fishing game.
Yes,
A fishing
How
game.
it's done.
There's quite the balance, you know, it's,
because you can't just stop the water that's flowing through there
Right.
now. You have to, it's gonna fill up, it's gotta spill over for a while, correct? And then you can put another board in, and then the same thing, and it takes a longer period of time.
And we're not gonna get the brains that you usually would have.
Right. But when our boards.
that's what we think, but
Yeah.
we've been getting them.
Right. But when our boards are in the summer, as an example, every August, there's no water flowing over the boards.
I know, and I wanted to talk to you about that. You're being a water hog, and you're keeping the water from downstream, rivers and such. And every year when I see that and I see everything's dry, I think, I gotta talk to them about that, and you gotta share a little. You gotta when the water is taking everything else down, you need to bring yours down a little too. It's only fair to the environment.
Right.
And that's
mean-
where you should have advice, how, how is that monitored, You may be able to take care of it yourselves, just thinking about it, but someone should advise you, okay, this is about the amount of water you should be going over a board, and if it isn't, this is what you probably need to do.
Remember way back when you guys wanted to update your order of conditions, that was from about 1,000,000 years ago, and I just started, and I'm like, whoa. And I said, you need to follow what the GEIR recommends, and you need to have a lake management plan, and you need this, that, and the other thing. Oh, yes, we'll do that. And then, well, we can't afford to have a lake management plan. Now, you need a lake management plan. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that doesn't just entail herbiciding. You really need a plan on, I know you have your little rules, welcome to the lake, but there's a lot more to it. And this is a perfect example, because you got to be doing dirt to your lake.
Doing what, I'm sorry?
You-
Doing damage?
Doing damage to
Oh,
the
oh,
lake.
yeah.
I know it's been done forever, but we didn't know a lot of stuff. We didn't know smoking was bad. Things change. So,
As I say, next year, we're going to try for the drone. We may not be successful, but that's what we're going to try for.
well, I've got so much digital information that you'd probably cry, but if you need any, I can throw them your way. Knowledge is power, that's all I keep saying.
Right, right.
Jane, a quick question. Do we need official paperwork after the fact about the drawdown, just for the public record?
Well,
Do we need it?
they've sent me information, they've answered my questions about how many they've taken out, they have not filled X and such out. I did tell you that I was going to put together an enforcement order, but we have a process where first you do letter number 1, come in and talk to us, which is basically tonight, and you do letter number 2 if you're being bad and not coming in. And I don't know what an enforcement and restoration order would do in this case, but I do think that you should give them our form letter just for the administrative process, if nothing else,
Okay. But no, I'm just thinking. do
for
we
what they've
need-
done.
No, do we need a order of conditions for this latest drawdown? Or their order of conditions that they have, how long does that go? What was the end date of that one?
It's good for 3 years. They have a new one, it's probably only a year old, but in it, hidden in the thing, says drawdown.
No, it covers this
It
activity.
does cover drawdown.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I think I told you somewhere the number,
You did, it's 23, I think,
sounds right.
Wait one.
21.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Number 21, right. Read your order of conditions, please.
I think, Bob, though, is if we don't issue a formal document on the restoration order, that, one, they immediately have a meeting to find out how to properly manage the dam and refilling the lake. Not just go out there, put, a board in and on your own,
Okay.
Right.
not set yourself in being responsible for making possibly a bad error. That fishing game may not like you.
Yeah, rather than writing out some sort of an enforcement,
You
I
have
would
multi-
give that to them, sign it, you sign it, and then give them a copy, or give it to them. It basically is just our form letter saying, you need to come before the commission, you need to cease and desist, you need to give us photographs of what you've done, and, contact for site visit or whatever, which, most of it would apply to this. And it's basically been done already. But I think that probably the best way to describe this is, rather than making us require you to have a lake management plan for a violation of your order of conditions, please just do it.
Right.
I think you can almost just take
So this,
the GEIR, or lake management plan, and fill in the spots. Just look the thing up. And like I said, send me an email. I got stuff I can send to you.
okay.
Because I would love to make management plans, and I collect things like that.
Okay.
Have I done them yet? Have I had the time? No. But I have them, so if you would like them, I'm happy to give them to you.
Okay. Right.
And Fish and Game may ask you, where is your management plan?
Pass that over to them.
Especially if it's drawn down this much. So I'd be advised that be prepared,
Okay.
or start working on it, one way or the other.
Yeah, remember all those animal burrows we were talking about? Dens in the banks, and they're high and dry. They're not going to survive the winter now.
Right.
They're going to have to find someplace else to live, and they're all going to fly the coop, and you won't have them around anymore. Or, I don't know, maybe they never set up camp permanently because it's been done every so often, but, animals adjust to occasional droughts, which is essentially what you're doing. It's just, there's smart ways of doing it.
Right. But we want to put the boards right in, so we'll talk to them immediately.
I would advise getting recommendations from professionals before you start slapping the boards back in.
Right.
We want them back in.
Fish and Game and
They have to be
GZA,
done right.
we'll reach out to them immediately.
And put pressure on GZA saying, look, where's that report? Because we are going to need to start refilling the lake under the state guidelines. And, basically, where's the advice, guys?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have many kinds of fish there, but fish rely, a lot of them rely on mollusks rely on the fish. So you get this whole interplay with everything like that, and if you draw the water back, the mollusks can't retreat quick enough, they die, and it's just a mess.
Right.
Many pieces to the
How many fish were
puzzle.
trapped and died? Any idea?
So I've been on the lake 31 years, we've never had a fish kill, ever.
Okay.
Which is rare, because most of the time they tell you that a lake should have a fish kill, it's okay if it has a fish kill. We have never.
Well, that's from
ever had it.
oxygenation and stuff, a lack of oxygen.
No, well,
I was thinking with the drawdown, some got caught in a
Yeah.
little pond
Yeah.
or something.
Well, like when they drew down Gavin's Pond, they had to do it once or twice. And then you never see fish on the shores, because you see lots of raccoon tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Herring tracks, and
Oh,
every other
okay.
animal's like, free dinner. So you're not gonna see the fish, because
Okay.
But we-
The herons get 'em
we
first.
pull out a 6-inch board every 10, 12, it takes 21 days or 22 days. So and they have been doing it since 60 years since I've been, and they've been doing it for 90 years. But that doesn't mean they were doing it right.
Hopefully the fish are smart.
But yeah, the fish, at this point, we've never had a fish kill. We've never seen them, and we're very careful. Jan, you've worked with us and given us good advice. We do our best to manage the lake, to keep it
Like I said, knowledge is
healthy.
power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, period.
Yeah, right.
So Bob, how do we handle the access issue?
Well, I think, okay, number one,
The 25-foot
they've got to come up with a plan I'm not a designer. I don't think anybody up here is qualified to design what needs to go in there. But obviously, we had suggested vegetation, thick vegetation, just to, and go from there. But I'm not a designer. As my wife would say, I don't play one on TV either, so.
Do you own the boat launch?
When we tried,
No, the
no,
cemetery
that's the, we
Cemetery
tried, but didn't do a good
That's
enough job. So we'll come to you and get your advice.
Well, also, people hear what they want to hear, or maybe I don't send out the message well enough, but I think when we said, you're going to need soil in each one of the holes that you plant your plant in,
Right.
it's in each one of the holes, it's not a bunch of rocks and stuff like that. And we got to, it's touchy, because we have to hold everyone to the same standards. Somebody else went and it dredged the
Drive around that loop. And you'll see
Neponset
where they-
Reservoir, which has,
I've never seen a boat.
it
I've seen
has
fishermen.
potential toxic chemicals. But it's similar, it's not the same, but it's very similar, and you can't say, well, this isn't as bad. You have to you have to hold everyone to the same standards. So when you do
If they don't own it, how can they?
file your notice of intent with a plan that's specific to, species of plants you're going to plant, how you're going to plant in each hole, you can use my
I suppose.
restoration guidelines, which is online, that I've messed up completely. I should send you the newer version. It basically tells you soup to nuts what you really need to do.
The only thing that's gonna stop them, even if it's only for 5 years, and the cemetery won't allow an orange fence with hay bales, this is what we talked to the chief about, is a fence. Keeping, and that way, they have to cut the fence. Right now, they will just pull those bluebird, I can see the kids doing it happily. They tear our signs
I
down.
deal with the same thing at the Cocasset River Park, so I understand. I do understand, it's frustrating.
Right.
Would the cemetery work with you in putting in a vegetated border?
As long as we pay for it, and we've offered to do that. The vegetative border is
So
okay.
they will work with you, you're saying, or?
Oh,
you
yeah,
have-
no,
okay.
to that regard, they've been great. They helped us put the form together for the fence, which we obviously didn't do a good enough job on. We'll do a better job.
You guys came in and talked to me so many times about that.
Right.
I'm obviously not getting the point across
We're
somehow.
not very bright, Jane, I'll tell you that. But so ultimately, we would like to do the bushes, but we think if you don't put the fence there, we've been throwing our money away. They steal our fences, they throw them in the water, they take them with them, they throw rocks at them, they have a ball.
Signs.
And the chief,
Signs, yeah.
Do they have a
Signs, I'm sorry.
rent-a-fence? Is there any way you could get a fence that wasn't permanent that you could rent and put up?
The construction,
Like something they would have at the Gillette or something?
the only issue is the cemetery has to approve it, because if you look on the cemetery's website, they charge another $500 to have a plot down at that boat launch.
Do they call it the boat launch?
no,
I was going to say, oh, boy.
They call it the lakefront view.
So it's a premium.
yes,
It's a premium spot, I swear to you. It's $1,500 for a plot, it's $2,000 if you're down at the lake.
So they need it to be a pretty fence.
Well, what about large boulders? What about
Not
large
but
boulders all
so
along the edge?
We've asked for large boulders to stop the parking,
I
to
bet
cut
the
up
town would
road.
would be willing to,
The
be happy
cemetery
to
was
give you
not,
some.
though.
And the issue is it's costing the town huge money.
No, I know it is, I know.
So we
I
think.
know it is.
It's unfortunate, and it doesn't have to be 10 years, but a real, like we've done before, keep it up 6 inches, let the turtles get under it. I know it's within the 25 feet. We'd love to put it at 25 feet, but then it would be on a grave. The graves are really close to us, So anyway, we need to put that in, because they're just gonna tear our trees up. We're gonna go through the effort, pay Willow Grove, which was a great idea, have a professional do it. They're just gonna tear them up. They're gonna laugh. I mean, it's amazing what these people do.
Maybe you should electrify it.
Jane, we'd love to do that. Well, I shouldn't.
Give them ideas.
Now, is your
Well,
boundary
it's
line with the
frustration when you can't stop that
cemetery
stuff.
in the water, or is it actually on dry land, your
What's
boundary
this?
line?
High water mark is-
We're at the high water mark.
You know exactly where that is?
Yeah, you can sort of see in the,
So anything below the high water mark, you can put in permanently
correct.
With the proper
with
approval.
proper
I was just
approval.
gonna say, if Jane approves. Don't get me in trouble now.
Careful.
Yeah. So,
Now, what stops you from having large boulders put in permanently, besides going through the formal process for next year?
Maybe you
The
should put
cemetery
in an
didn't want to block off
observation
the road with
platform.
large boulders because they have to allow access for
In-
people.
in the
back
water.
there.
No, in the water.
In the what, in your property, right along the boundary?
Well, I mean,
we could do that.
you'd be talking about a 200-foot long,
How big it is.
See,
Boulder wall.
The cemetery perimeter, or the cemetery boundary is significant, but it's at the boat launch where everybody goes.
Right.
and if they don't go there, they find little paths.
Yeah, there are other paths, or at least two or
There are
three
other
others.
paths.
That's why the request was for 100 feet. And it's just to give everybody for the next 5 years, and we have a sign that says, this is video monitored, and we have it video monitored, we're gonna put up a loudspeaker, we're gonna do everything we can do, you know? And it's a terrible thing, we realize, you know, it's terrible that we have to keep it a private lake and keep people out, but we're liable, 100% we are liable. And nowadays, it's terrible to be liable.
Yeah, I'm actually afraid that you block that one and you go around the corner into that little cove.
Well, we requested 100 feet toward that cove, but you're right, we're gonna be dealing with it probably forever.
Yeah.
But the point is if these, especially if we're gonna have videos of them breaking the fence, which we know they'll break the fence. The bushes are easy, they'll just throw them right into the water, we already know that. The fence, they'd have to cut through, they'd have to break it, it would take them time, we'd have it on video, we get the, you know, Chief Grace has been awesome. He wants to help us. He wants to cut down, sending
Yeah,
his
he's
guys
had
down
it. He
there.
came in and he was like, and the commission won't let him. I'm like, no, that's not what we said. It's, you know, you just have to
Video
do
needs to
it
capture the
a
licenses.
certain way.
We do that. We have the licenses.
What can you do,
It's just
though?
like
There's
the
not a whole
st- Chief explains, it's just like the stadium. It's very difficult unless you put in the proper boundaries. Yeah.
But that might be an idea then. Large rocks, side by side.
Right.
After you get a permit, you know, come up with that solution. And we have a couple rocks at, you know, one of our properties, and they still move it, maybe one of them. But to get, both.
It's better than nothing.
It's
Right.
better than nothing.
I agree. Well, that's a great idea. We've asked that. So we'll talk to you about that as well. It's a great idea.
I just got a real cockamamie idea. If you were to turn that open area into an observation deck for the people at the cemetery,
Then they could charge more for their plots.
yes, come and visit. Come and look out over the water. It's very pretty, but don't fish.
Right.
But so their
That's
issue
where we
with.
find all the beer cans and the fishing lures.
Well,
and-
you're going to get that anyway. The thing is, I mean, I have a lot of people in town who are in my unofficial stewards, and they are wonderful. They pick up the trash for me, and for everyone,
I'm the
really.
one that does it, so it's.
Well,
you know,
yeah, I do the same thing, but it's frustrating. I don't
It's
understand.
very frustrating.
I don't know why people litter. I wouldn't even throw away a gum wrapper.
Right. People, yeah, right.
So any recommendations other than,
I would say that, like David said, get together with GZA and call the Division of
Fish and Game.
Fisheries and Wildlife,
I've
or
read that.
Game, whatever it's called now,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yep.
Say, I need help. What can I do? When you call the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, I would ask them for their help. How can you help, could you help me? That was, my buddy Earl Ferguson says that's a good way of approaching things. You ask for help. And then say, we didn't know and we want to know what to do right. And go from there. And then, as far as putting a sign in the water, in the bottom of the lake, it's called land under water, digging a hole, putting cement in there, which is going to be, you're hoping, permanent. That is not such a great thing without a permit either. I mean, that's something that, I don't know what the commission would do if you were to request this, but certainly a big blob of cement and holes dug and soil pushed around is not something that they would have gone for. With the water down, I mean, they've got these new things that they use for sonotubes. It's a machine that goes, it's like a great big drill, and you can
Augers.
leave the thing in there, I think. So there are other ways to do that sort of thing, but we can't say you have to file a notice of intent after the fact, because notice of intent, orders of conditions can be appealed. So we have to make it so that whatever we require is not appealable. And I guess I don't have any good suggestion, really. I mean,
Well, anything we do, we'll make sure to come to you guys, that's for sure. We get that message.
tell everybody, too.
Yeah,
I mean, because I've spoken to a lot of different people, and obviously they're not spreading the word.
yeah.
Do we have them come back to the next meeting, or they just report to you as to what they've done? Could update us on,
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Would you be willing to come to the next meeting after you've spoken to all of these folks and let us know what's going on?
Sure. Like I said, we want to work with you guys. We're not like trying to,
Oh, it just seems that way.
I know, well,
It seems that way. So, yeah, if you come back and give us an update, and it doesn't have to be a big, long thing, just say, we called such and so, and they said this, and we called such and so, and we're doing this, and.
There's nothing on next agenda.
Nothing? Is there going to continue to be nothing?
Today would have been the deadline.
All right, well, I guess the next meeting is going to be when?
We may need, GZA has to get back to us, and right now,
Well, send me emails, okay?
December 12th.
yeah. I'll definitely continue.
Plan on
to-
December 12th then.
Yeah.
And, yeah, send me updates,
we'll be in
please.
touch with you, if we hear from GZA and we have
Right.
something.
Right, and
Certainly
send
happy
me
to share.
emails anyways, and I can send you information
Yep.
to review if you want. And go on to the, it wasn't easy to find, but the Mass Department of Dams, is it?
Dam safety.
Dam Safety. It's a website, it's linked to the Mass Government website, and I mean, it was really hard to maneuver through it, but I did find all that stuff that I sent you on that website. That's, the go-to, basically.
Come to think of it,
What's that now?
I say, come to think of it, is there any way that we can get, because that dam is benefiting many, many humans, is there any way we could get a weight situation so that keep the weight down off of that dam? Is that something we'd ask for from you guys?
That wouldn't be us.
what?
Thank gosh.
Would be or would not? Would not?
No. No, I think that
We need a
would,
weight, we don't want the big trucks going over the dam.
that would probably be a DPW thing.
Yeah, we can talk to them.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I wonder if
That's
planning
gonna
board,
open up the issue of who owns what.
Right.
Town owns the road and we own the dam under it, right? But if it's causing damage to the dam, I guess that's a conversation
dams
with
are
DPW.
such a pain in the neck. I mean, throughout the town, and throughout the state, I'm sure, which is why they've been taking a lot out. But, yeah, I would go to the DPW and see if they have any thoughts on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can ask.
Do you know, is that something the planning board or zoning board does?
Both entities,
Probably not. No, weight limits on roadways?
DPW maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Start to town engineer, that would be the
Yeah,
Chris Gallagher.
In Lance.
yeah, they're not very
Landscape
busy. But, yeah, I can see
But
there's.
don't tell Chris you got
value
his
in it.
name from me.
Robert?
All right.
That
Yeah.
legal question did come up.
What's that?
That legal question did come up. And I think there's historical information recorded that road is a public way,
Right.
even though the dam's underneath it.
Yep.
Got the
But
same
that's, a lot of them are
situation-
like that in
Yeah,
town.
we got the same situation on North Street.
And West Street.
Yeah, well, it used to
And
be
North
wood
Street.
planks. You could see the wood planks underneath, and then the town decided to pave over it.
Wood plank?
It's there.
There are wood planks underneath that? Great.
Still
That's what it used to be.
They're still there, yeah.
Wow.
But it's a very healthy dam, and hopefully will last another 100 years. Or at least until I use my plot over at the Rock.
Ocean view.
Well, I've already got mine over at Rock Hill, so don't,
There you go. Hope you didn't pay extra for the one down at the
I'm in a
boat.
little special.
He's
area
kind of
there.
waterfront.
Only-
I'm waterfront, but,
I was only kidding.
Yeah, and Diana and I were traumatized one day as we walked by and noticed that he had a headstone. We were like, is that?
try to save my kids a lot of work, that's all.
Very good, good.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for coming in.
So I'll see you on the 12th, is it? No, December?
Yeah, if we hear from the GZA, like I said, we'll email you. and
Yeah.
Let you know that we've heard
Update
something.
me
to
anyway, yes,
report.
please, thank you.
Get that meeting set up as soon as possible, and
Yep.
maybe a couple of us will be there, just to overhear,
Front
get
end.
advices.
Just, all communication will go through Jane,
Yeah, go
though.
through me.
Right.
That keeps me out of open meeting law problems. Everything goes through her. so.
Okay.
Understood.
And then think about putting together a lake management plan, just maybe some basics. You are working on it,
Right.
I mean, you had some information from previous companies that worked on the lake and, you know, the plant growth and what needed to be eliminated, you know, when you treated it. And there was some additional information there that they had to do studies on. So you have the
Yeah,
components.
you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Right, you got the components.
it all.
Just you probably could find online some examples of lake management plans, structure.
Like I said, I probably have them, so I can send them your way.
That, we'll take it. I say we'll take it. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. I'll just get in
Thank you
touch.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Yep.
great night.
You too.
David, we got some minutes you want to approve?
Okay.
Make it quick. Yeah, I'm not-
We got minutes.
Got ice time.
What time?
Okay, we get minutes of September 19th, 2022. What I read and could remember, I found was pretty accurate in what was written up here. Mainly, it was 20 Ridge Road. And then Jim was in charge at that time. Jim made a motion to close the discussion and issue a negative determination for 3 Meadowview Road. And those are the only 2 activities at that time. Most of it was 20 Ridge Road.
Okay.
And what I can remember, I think what you get here is pretty accurate.
All right. Somebody want a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? October 3rd?
October 3rd was a very short meeting. Again, the information of 20 Ridge Road was really the most important in the details that were put together between Diana and Jane. I didn't see anything there that was
Out of order.
out of order. You also had 325 Foxborough Boulevard and 2 Washington Street being continued.
Okay. Somebody want a second, October 3rd?
I'll second October 3rd.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
All right, October 24th, David.
I have a draft of it. I'm not too sure if this is the final one, though.
So make
It
it
is?
the quickest meeting ever.
Okay,
Quickest meeting ever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a final, isn't it?
okay.
Yeah, should be.
October 24th, 2022, Jim, the vice chair, was in charge. And the only thing that came up, besides reviewing the minutes of August 30th, was 20 Ridge Road Enforcement and Restoration Order.
All righty. Somebody want to second it?
I'll second it for October
Discussion.
24th.
All right. Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. You have anything else, Jane?
Only to announce, what was I going to
Oh,
announce?
yes. The training for January 11th.
Hostile meeting training, January 11th, 6 to 8 in the Gala Meeting Room, because of a couple recent quite hostile meetings. I guess it's how to deal with it and such.
Yeah.
so.
We had one, and Planning Board had one, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We're the lucky ones, but I guess basically just how to deal with it, what to do.
hopefully,
I appreciate,
Is that mandatory?
Did you want to talk about
mandatory?
209?
Okay.
209? Did you want to talk about that?
209, yeah. I've been receiving notification from the abutter that there are some hairy cows across the
Hairy cows.
Oh.
Canoe River.
oh, okay.
They're probably the Grossmith's cows. I looked back in the history of,
Yeah.
and I guess the issue was that they were trying to, they were letting the cows get too close to the water and such. So I've been getting,
They were ordered to remove a fence away from the river.
Move it back 25
A number of years ago, and
Yeah.
nothing's been done. It's
I
still
think the
right on.
DEP took it over, and Bob said he doesn't recall what happened after that.
It's still right on the water. Couldn't be any closer.
Oh, you're kidding me.
It's within inches of the water, yeah.
Yeah, now he seems to be letting
And that
his
was
cows
the,
play down there, so.
It's right across from
DEP,
204.
yeah. Sent him a letter. Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of history on it.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
This is the one on East Street?
yeah. From, well, 2007 to 2009. Yeah. So-
Yeah, I guess the agricultural exemption came up for 204 East Street, and I guess they tried to hop on top of that as well. And it doesn't fly if you haven't been using the area in the past 5 years
5
for
years, yeah.
agriculture.
Yeah.
So,
For a profit, too.
they have to have a certain amount of profit,
Yeah.
sales, what is it, $500 or something? And then you can't have horses, or you can do this, and it's complicated. But people try to pull that. I mean, all of Massachusetts used to be farmland, so that argument really doesn't fly. But I haven't said anything to them yet. I haven't gone down there yet. Was there a cow there today?
No, there was no cow. in
Thank
there
you
when
for
I saw
checking it out, by the way.
Yeah. No, there's no cow. The cows were back up by his property by the,
Cocasset.
yeah.
Huh, I don't know what the story is, but I've been choosing my battles lately. There've been a lot of them.
Lot to choose from, yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Your motion?
Make a motion to close the meeting.
So just before 8:30, wow.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
For Jeff.
Opposed? Good night, Mr. Beck.